Viewing our surface area and our volume. So some things we will need to do is find the surface area, find the volume, identify the shape, whether it's a pyramid or a prism, and identify the shape that would be created from the net. So just a reminder, surface area is going to be represented as units squared. We're just taking our length times our width. We're doing that for all of the different surfaces, adding them together. So we only have 2 dimensions. So make sure that you're clicking that squared one. On volume, we're finding what goes on the inside. So it's going to be units cubed. So make sure you're clicking that cubed one because we are taking the length times the width times the height. We're taking 3 dimensions to see how much can fit inside. Number 1 asks for the volume. So if we remember, that is length times width times height. So the length is 8. The width is 6. And the height is 4. So we do 8 times 6 times 4. And that will tell us our answer in units cubed. Number 2 asks for the surface area of this shape. So we have a rectangular prism here. So we can use our frog method. So we have our length, our width, and our height. So we connect all of our numbers. And then we go 8 times 6 is 48. And then remember, we need to double the bubble to create that eye. So you're going to double 48 and put it here. 6 times 4 is 24. And we want to double that bubble and put that answer here. Then 8 times 4 is 32. Make the tongue and double the bubble. Put your answer here. Then you'll take all 3 of your doubled bubbles and you're going to add those numbers together to get your answer in units squared. So we just covered, remember the frog jumps and touches all of the sides. Number 3 wants us to name this 3D figure. So remember, pyramids are going to have triangles going all the way around the side, and they all are going to meet at a point. Prisms are going to have 2 sides that are parallel to each other. And it's also going to have a base and a top that are parallel to each other. So the whole thing is parallel when you have a prism. So we can see here, I've got a base on the bottom, and that same base is also on the top here. So we know we have a prism, but it's not just a prism. Now we need to identify what shape it's sitting on. So look at this shape, decide what shape it is, and then add prism to the end of that. Number 4 wants us to name this figure. So remember, pyramids come to a point. Prisms have tops and bottoms that are parallel. So we can see this one all comes to a point. So it's a pyramid. Now look at the shape that it's sitting on as the base. So identify the base, and it's a pyramid. Number 5 asks for the surface area. So what we need to do, so if you'll remember, we did a lot of practice with this, is we want to draw all of those shapes that we have. So I can see that front there is a triangle, and this triangle here in the front and this triangle in the back are the same. Those are my bases on this prism. So we've got 2 of those triangles. And then I have a rectangle going around each side. So we have 3 rectangles to go around those triangles. So let's look at our triangle here. So our base is 3 and our height is 7. So to find our triangle, we're going to do base times height. We're going to cut it in half, and then we're going to times it by 2 because we have a front and a back. Okay, so now let's look at these triangles. So to touch the triangles is 10. That means all of these have a 10 to connect the triangles together. Now we're going to walk around our triangle. This bottom one is 3. This side here is 5. And I don't have one here on this side, but I can come back here and find that same side is also 5. So we only need that 7 when we're going up the height of the triangle. So now I will do base times height, base times height, base times height on all of those rectangles. Now I need to add my triangles, the first rectangle, the second rectangle, and that third rectangle together is going to give me my answer in units squared. Number 6 has 2 parts to it. So we need to make sure we pick 2 answers. So first it wants us to name the figure. So remember that pyramids come to a point, prisms have a parallel top and bottom. So we can see this one comes to a point. Then I look at the shape on the bottom, the base. So identify the base shape, and it's a pyramid. Then part 2 of this one, it wants us just to find the area of this base here. So looking here at this triangle on the bottom, I can see that the base of it is 10. So base times the height of the triangle is 7. And we cut triangles in half. And this was an area, so units squared. So your first answer will be the name of it. The second answer is the area of the base. Number 7 wants us to name this. So remember, pyramids come to a point. Prisms have a parallel top and bottom. So I can see all of these come to a point. Now I look at the base shape here to identify what type of pyramid that is. Number 8 says Beaufort is painting a cube. Well, I know a cube is going to look something like that. It has all the sides are 6 inches. So I know since it's a cube, they're all square. So the length is 6, the width is 6, the height is 6. So ask how many bottles of paint will he need if each bottle will cover, so we're talking about surface area, 24 square inches. So first we're going to start with our frog, and we need to know the surface area of the box he's making. So we're going to go and make our frog. It's going to touch all the different sides. So 6 times 6 is 36, and then we need to double the bubble. You'll do 6 times 6 again, double the bubble. 6 times 6 again, double that bubble. So we're going to add up all of our bubbles, and that will give us how much surface area we have here. Then you're going to take this answer and we are going to divide it by 24, and that will tell you how many bottles you need to cover that entire cube that Beaufort has. Okay, and number 9 wants to know what figure this represents. So I can see the base is here, and we do not have another parallel base anywhere on here. There's no other square for it to have parallel, so it's not a prism. So if we fold all of these up, they're all going to touch and meet at one point. So that means it's a pyramid. And then we look at our base and decide what type of pyramid it is.